Okay, calling
Yeah.
the meeting to order.
Okay.
Where's Michelle?
Oh, first things first, Michelle had her baby
Oh, she
on
did? Oh,
Tuesday.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, since you both mentioned Michelle.
Exciting.
We have a little girl named Emma, and she has a little boy, Dominic, who's 16 months. So.
Oh my gosh, she's
Yeah.
busy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all
Is
good.
this is the same Michelle who's at home in Darien?
No, different Michelle. Oh, no, don't tell her that because she's probably a little bit older than a baby birth. No, Michelle in our office, and sometimes she comes to our, she's been coming to our meetings. She's our office
I
administrator.
Your office downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, do you want to review the minutes?
Yeah.
This is from January. Does anyone have any questions or?
Good. I can move to approve. Have everybody reviewed? I don't want to rush you.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Anyone second?
Second,
All in
third, fourth.
favor?
Whichever one. All right.
Okay.
Do you need some minute take?
I'm doing it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Cynthia's on vacation this week.
oh, there are people here.
Yes, there are. Okay, so, well, as you know, the tragedies that happened in the end of March and then a couple of weeks later, we, with the untimely death, we rallied closely with the schools, and that weekend afterwards, we had Cynthia and I were here in town hall for office hours. The schools had hours from 10 till 2 on Saturday and Sunday, and then Cynthia and I were here from 8 till 10 and 2 to 5. And we did have some people come in.
Wow.
And I think maybe it was more comfortable than going to the school. It was mostly parents with kids who have, and some kids who have kids who have depression and anxiety and are scared, and it's so common, and it's just awful.
Yeah, how do they know about that, to come in to see you?
Well, the schools, so the
school
schools
told
posted
us.
out, yep,
Yeah.
and then we posted it online on social media, on, you know, the Facebook and the
It was in
Times
the
and all of that.
paper,
It was in the
everything.
paper.
Yeah.
So we also organized with family centers and Center for Hope, Denver Grieving Kids, Chelsea McGee and Julian Green. We had an online discussion of coping with grief and loss, like a community conversation, we called it. And it was a Zoom, and we actually had like 30 people show up, which is
Wow.
pretty good.
That's
And it
great.
was, I think it was also because it was a safe place, like people could turn their cameras off,
Yeah.
didn't have to even acknowledge, that they were there, but people did. So I think, what we saw is that people are obviously really scared, and the community was such a tragedy and so much loss. So then we decided we'd talked about at a Human Service Planning Council meeting after I had left, someone had brought up the mental health first aid training using Arpa funds. ARPA's the American Rescue Plan Act that the town got $6.5 roughly million to spend. All the towns got different amounts, based on their size, but, so we had started talking about it, and then this just seems like it was.
That's great.
It was
Yeah.
just very appropriate and necessary. So we quickly were able to organize it, and the first day, it's 30 people per session. The first day filled up immediately on the
That's
very first
great.
day, which shows how many people really want to better understand mental health and are struggling with it.
And is it Dawn Roy?
Dawn Roy,
She's
who was
fantastic.
awesome. I took it
I
in
did too.
2013.
I think I took it around that same
Yeah,
time.
we were probably the same. So what it is, mental health first aid training, is it's kind of like the equivalent of like say CPR is, but for
Yeah.
mental health issues. So it's an 8-hour training, and we're breaking it into 2 days because 8 hours is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So we're doing 8:30 till 1 o'clock next Thursday and Friday.
Oh,
It's
good.
30 spots. It's post 53. And we're not charging anyone. The town is paying for it with the Arpa funds that are designated towards mental health.
You're doing 2 different days too, right?
3 now.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
then,
wow.
with that filled up, so I'm like, we'll do another one.
Sure.
So then, and then some people also said, well, for people who are working, it's hard to do it during the week, obviously. So we have one on June 5th, which is a Sunday, an all-day one, and all at Post 53. They were very
that's
generous
great.
to host it. They've hosted it there before. So that one is an all-day Sunday one, and still have some spots in that one, but it's more than halfway full. And then the second 2-day session is June 8th and June 9th from 8:30 to 1 again, and that one's full.
Oh, wow.
So it just shows you.
How many people is full?
30.
30.
It's 30 per session,
It
yeah.
has to
Wow.
be 30, because it's kind of an intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it too,
experience.
yeah.
It's great. So actually, it's going to be in the town. You know how now we have this biweekly newsletter that Marley Hayes
Yeah, it's
has.
great.
And, so it's going to be in the newsletter this weekend, and then we're going to post it on social media again, just to let people know there's still some spots open. So, it's going to be great. I personally, and even as a social worker, like it's for lay people, but anyone can take it. I loved it. It was great. She's a great presenter. So.
That's great.
Anyway,
It just makes you more aware.
it makes you aware, and I think people just want to feel like they have some kind
Some
of resources or
tools.
Yeah.
education and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just anything that can help. So we're happy that that's gonna, will be successful and.
What a great use of those funds.
Right?
too.
I
It just
agree.
seems so
Smart.
perfect.
Yep, and as I said, and then it's becoming summer, so we could do it again in the fall, if there's, because now, obviously, then, we will keep offering it, said if it fills up again, we'll do
Sure.
more. But I think then it's gonna be kind of hard with the end of the school year, and it's a lot of parents, but then it's also people from town hall, people from the library, people from the Y. We said it could be any Darien resident or someone who serves the Darien community. So anyway, we're excited, so that'll be next week. And speaking of ARPA, we haven't started, I think I probably told, and we didn't meet last, okay. Sorry, I'm like, I can't keep track of who I've told what. So the ARPA funds, we have $250,000 that was allotted to mental health, and it's designated towards human services, so then we'll figure out, the process of how we can start a grant application for various nonprofits. We haven't even really started figuring out how we're going to do it. I'm going to work with Kate and Jen because they deal with the grant requests every year from different nonprofits in the annual budget. So we still have, we don't have to spend the money till 2024, so we have time. We just wanted to figure out where to allocate it to. And then they also gave us $100,000 that we can give to nonprofits.
That's
And-
in addition.
In addition,
Okay.
and then
So will nonprofits be able to apply for the 250 and the 100?
I have to figure it all out. That's what I'm saying. And I've never done this before with the whole
Okay.
grant thing.
I know, it's all new.
Well, so no, yes, mental health. I don't know. We have
Okay,
to figure
that's
it out.
fine.
I'm really hoping that we can get. We really want it to go to the nonprofits that directly serve Darien.
Absolutely.
So you have to be really careful because we can't just exclude people. But I mean, there's certain ones that really through the last 2 years, like family centers, child guidance for mental health, they're just been tremendous. And
Yeah.
the community fund is a nonprofit, right? Like, you're always supporting us. The YMCA supports gives scholarships to our clients, and then, of course, person to person, filling in the blanks. So
Yeah.
those are the tops of my head, but we'll have to make it open to, all the
Yeah.
nonprofits, and then I don't know how that process works, 'cause I've never been involved, but we will figure it out. And so so the 250 for mental health, 100,000 for food related and secure, like food nonprofits, so for food and security.
Mm-hmm.
100,000 for all general nonprofits, and then 75,000 for our emergency financial assistance, just for human services.
Good.
And we've already started having to tap into that. So as we've been saying for so
Wow.
long, like, we're
We knew
waiting
it
and
was gonna
waiting.
happen, yeah.
And now we've actually, I think 4 families just in the last month that
Oh,
we've had
no.
to start using that money. Because,
Evictions?
well, because Unite CT, which was
Yeah.
the federally, I think it was federally funded, to each state got money, and, well, they called it Unite CT for Connecticut, but money to help with people who are affected by COVID with utility bills and rent. Well, it stopped taking applications in March, and it's kind of at a standstill.
Really?
So some of these people had applied, and nothing's happening. So now the landlords there's no eviction moratorium anymore. So now it's starting. So
This is weird, because I just got a Unite CT, it's a seminar, come and see what we do and what we're providing. But if they stopped accepting applications in March,
Yep.
what are they talking about?
I don't know, and there's no guarantee that if you applied before they stopped taking
Yeah.
them, that the funds are there. So now I think we've seen that the landlords are like, and particularly like at the Heights, that's where a lot of our clients live, which is the low income housing.
Mhm.
So thank God we have those funds, so we were able to help.
And we still have, I think, like 40-some thousand in that fund.
With yours, with the Touch of
Yeah.
Life.
Hmm.
So we've started to have a bunch of new clients.
These are new.
New,
Haven't
like
actually-
never been here before, asking for help.
Okay.
Yeah,
In general or eviction?
In general.
Just everything?
yeah, not just necessarily for rent, but often it's for rent, or, not able to find a job, and then, can apply for all the different programs that we do, so,
Wow.
yeah,
The
so,
inflation is probably
well,
causing.
well, that too, and people's rents are being increased.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Food, everything.
Everything, I know. So, so thankfully, we have those funds that we can help people with.
Okay.
So that's where we are with the ARPA. Energy assistance, the state actually extended it another month, so that's for your home heating. It's help for low-income families to help with their heating bills. So this is like the 3rd year, actually, they've extended it because of COVID. The first 2 years, they extended it, and they've taken away the asset tests, and so anyway, it's still going on. So we do have a couple people who are still applying, but that will come to an end soon. And evictions, we did have an eviction 2 weeks ago of a family. So hopefully those don't start picking up, but there's a good chance it could, since now the landlords, and you feel bad for the landlords who aren't getting their money,
Yeah.
obviously.
Is that the one we just in the minutes we just read about? Or is that a different one?
Oh,
I don't
They're
know.
allowed to keep their stuff in the same house?
for $1?
Yes, same family.
Same thing?
Same one,
Same thing.
yeah.
So where do they end up? Are they still in town somewhere?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
It doesn't happen often that we have families that are actually evicted, but oftentimes they'll find family, friends, or
Yeah.
someone to stay with, since I've been here, only 2 times have we had families go to shelters, but that's obviously the last resort, but it does happen. But the nice thing is that if the family is homeless, they're allowed to finish the school year off. The kids are allowed to stay in school and finish the
Even
year
if
off.
they're
And
not
that's
here.
that's just not unique to Darien, that's just the law.
That's great.
Yeah. And technically, and this did happen with one of them, technically the schools have to provide transportation if they're in a shelter. But anyway,
So really, as far as we're concerned, there's no follow-up to make sure they're okay?
no, I mean, if it's a family we know, we often do keep reaching out to them, just to provide support, and we've given gift cards and food, when that happens.
Okay.
But no, I mean, not on an ongoing basis,
Yeah.
because then technically they're not Darien residents anymore, I know. And renter's rebate is starting. Cynthia does that now. She did it she took it over because Diane Barston, when she left, Diane had been doing it. So what that program is for people over 65 or who are on Social Security disability, who are renters. They have to have rented, been living in Connecticut for over a year. And then Cynthia gets proof of their rent, and they have to meet the income guidelines. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's probably similar to the energy, it's for low income residents, and they have to show proof of utilities and rent for the past 12 months, and then they actually get an actual check in October. So it runs from May till the end of September, and then in October or early November, they get a check up to $750, which is really nice, and it's also nice for the clients because it's a good time of year right before the holidays. So, so that's starting up next week when she comes back.
The sad thing is it's not easy for these folks to wait for that money.
It's not, but it's
it feels so far away.
And that's what we tell them too, because everyone wants to apply right at the beginning, and it's like, even if you apply September 30th, they're still not going to get the check till October, But it's just kind of like a nice little cushion and good time of year. So I think there were roughly 35 or 40 last year, but now we did send out a letter to all the Royal, which is the low to moderate senior housing, because there's a lot of new residents, and we actually have had a couple of new people come in. So we always like that, that we're able to help new families or those were seniors. But so I think that's about it.
So what about all these new apartments? Like, what percentage are low income? Like, there's Neuron Heights, the ones downtown are so expensive.
So I don't know off the top of my head. I know I talked to Jeremy Ginsburg a couple days ago, because the one over where Walgreens is, he said they're going to have, I think, don't quote me on this. I think he said 8 in the first, 8 will be affordable, and then ultimately 16 when the whole processing. And it's going to be a lottery. I'm going to find out he said to call him next week because he'll have the details, because it's going to happen soon. And whenever that happens, like the last time it happened was like at the Royal, there's obviously more people apply than are going to be able to get it. And then they have to hold a waiting list. So I don't know how the process is going to work, but he said he should know by next week. So that's additional. We don't get involved in that process. But people have been calling, of course, and asking us. And yes, they're all going to have some affordables. I don't know the numbers, but...
Well, the ones downtown, I don't know if anyone else got it. It's $7,200 for a one-bedroom that's 1,700 square feet.
What?
In the Corbin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
A month, obviously.
Well, that's low income.
For a one-bedroom. Well, I know over at
I'll
Avalon.
find it and I'll send it to you. I got the ad for it.
I didn't see
what
the
is the
prices.
What is the criteria, seriously, for, I shouldn't say necessarily the criteria. What's going to be the rent on these new places that are opening up?
I don't know.
I don't know how they determine what low-income rent.
Well, no, there's
what's
like the
affordable?
whole. No, there's a whole state. Well, I think it also depends on your area, and it's also where you're in your
zip
area.
code,
It changes throughout the state, but there's guidelines, poverty guidelines, that they have to go through. So, like for instance, I think, like, say at the Heights, they have 3 different tiers. So, like, they have someone who's 50% of, I think it's 50% of the poverty, of the statewide poverty level, and then maybe 35, 25, and their rents go accordingly. So, there's some people that could pay $500 a month at the Heights who are very low income, and they have a certain amount of apartments designated for that tier. And then they have the next rate up, say, I'm just
So the state would be the one.
They have to follow the guidelines that are from the state,
And it's by family size.
And it's by
like
size.
It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each size, and I don't remember the numbers.
I don't know
from
the
P to
numbers
P.
either, but so it depends on your income and the family size, and then they only have so then they can have wait lists. Like the wait list for the lowest tier is always the longest because there's not I don't know if there's not as many, but they're in demand. Same with the Royal, they have different tiers too. But so, like, say at the Heights, the highest income is about $1,800. The highest rent is about $1,800 a month that I've seen.
You just raised the subject that our church is sponsoring an Afghan family of 15.
Oh,
So
Fabulous.
wow.
they're in Stanford and finding it very difficult. But anyway, but your question about the rent, et cetera, in a family. these new apartments that are going up now, are they one-bedroom apartments? Are they
Most
two?
of them
Are they
are.
three? Or
There's,
what?
there's none that I know of, at least at the with Federal Realty is what I think it is, the
think they're-
Walgreens one. The most, I think they have some 2 bedrooms, but I don't think there's anything
But
bigger
they're
than
mostly
2.
studios and ones, I
Right,
think.
so they're trying to not make them, but we have plenty of families who can put quite a few people in a 2-bedroom apartment. But, you know, it's, I don't know, like at Avalon, I know, like they have, you can only have so many people living in, it's based on the size, but
Yeah, but
But
There's
that-
not that qualification here in terms of,
I don't know.
I don't know the details, because we don't get involved in that, but I would assume that they have limits, but that doesn't mean that you don't have additional people. So yes, the
Yeah,
schools
but-
could potentially feel it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
yeah.
Because I think when Avalon, from what I've heard, and I wasn't working here when Avalon was built, but I think initially they thought, oh, it's not gonna be families. Well, they fill a whole school bus, because I lived there
Yeah.
for elementary school at
Yeah.
Tokenique. So who knows?
And the same thing with Kensett. That was
Right, they
supposed
thought
to
that
be
wasn't
for a
gonna be
mature
fam-
population,
right.
and it filled up with families.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on, and that also is, you know, potential, and hopefully they will become clients, because if
Yep.
they're low income, then they're gonna be eligible for all of our services, so.
Mm-hmm.
So there's potential for quite a few new residents, obviously, but also clients for our
Do you have
department.
any idea the number that's expected in there?
No idea.
No idea.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it just looks like the school system is gonna be overwhelmed.
What, you mean with the Federal Realty at the Walgreens?
Yeah.
I think there's maybe like 120 apartments, or there's definitely over 100. I don't know the details because I don't really get involved, but I will find out next week so that when people do call us, we can give them the information. Jeremy said to call him, he'll know, you know, who the contact is and what the process is.
Because they're already starting to rent downtown, and that's not even built.
Wow. And there's gonna be a lot of new
I'll have to
restaurants.
I'll have to
Oh,
find
it's
that
gonna-
email.
There's gonna be a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Are they handicapped, accessible? all
I
of
think
them?
they have to have a certain percentage have to be ADA compliant.
I
would
think so.
bet.
I think that's
Yeah.
with any development, I believe, but again,
I think
this is
so,
out of
too.
my league of
I mean,
expertise.
You don't know everything?
No, I don't.
Oh, you're shocking me.
I'll try to figure it out. I'll do my best to get more information, but, yeah, so there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, the next 5 years, this town's gonna, I feel like it'll change completely.
Yeah, it's gonna,
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
I lied. 1,730 square feet for $7,785 a month.
that's even more than you thought.
Yeah.
You thought 72.
But it
Yeah.
doesn't
You're
tell
talking
you.
about Corbin, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so then the next phase of 34 units will be ready in Q2 of 2024.
So it's a while.
8 to 10 of those condos will be for sale. So I'll just send it to Ally and then she.
oh my
Well,
God.
that doesn't seem to fall under our
No.
Yeah, those won't be potential clients.
purview, no matter what.
But then the
May-
affordables,
maybe-
hopefully.
Maybe that rent will put them on.
Yeah, it doesn't give you the size either. It doesn't say 1 bedroom or
Oh,
anything.
really?
If it's 1,000, I would, no. Mm-mm. Food for thought.
Any other new business?
Mm-mm.
Did not have any.
Okay.
All right, I'll move to adjourn.
Okay.
That was easy,
So-
guys.
Yeah.
That was faster than the Blight Review Board.
I think we beat Blight. Yeah, we had Blight last night, and it was just about half an hour, which is nice.
Okay.
Someone second?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Do we do
you.
all in favor? I think we're all in favor.
I think so,
All in
right?
favor.